All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lori, and thank you so much for joining us for our Alumni Career Chat. We have 4 amazing alumni that are just they are all such busy people, and it is so nice to see all of them. A lot of them I met when they were here at UNG, and Aaron was so kind. He was one of those amazing alumni that when I reached out to him on LinkedIn, he was like, I would love to talk to our fellow Nighthawks because he got a lot of help, and they all got a lot of help while they're here at UNG, and made a lot of great connections. And now they're just doing so many wonderful, amazing things in their career. So let me get right into it and do a quick introduction, and then we'll start our conversation with our alumni. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to go left to right, starting with Aaron. So Aaron graduated in 2021. He's currently a procurement specialist at Young Management and Consulting. His company is based out of Atlanta. However, he's currently living in Kansas City. He actually just recently made that move, so he's been keeping himself pretty busy. He works alongside engineering, procurement, and construction teams at Burns and McDonnell to complete electric and gas construction projects across the U.S. So while attending UNG, he kept himself pretty busy then too. So he was a member of Pi Kappa Phi fraternity, the Interfraternity Council, Student Government Association, the Presidential Leadership Program, Orientation, Student Ambassadors, and the UNG Acapella. So I take it, Aaron, that means you can sing? You might have to give us a concert.
I hope so.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know.
You're not warmed up, right? Yeah.
No, not today.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. And his message to students, I was asking all of them, do you have anything that you want to say to students? And I'm sure he has plenty more to say, but some of the advice that he would like to impart is that where you are today does not define where you will be tomorrow, and that hard work mixed with the right opportunities can get you farther than you can imagine. So thank you so much, Aaron, for joining us today. So next up is Maria Fernando Franco-Lopez, and she has had quite the journey herself. First of all, she graduated from UNG also in 2021. She has a communication with a public relations concentration, and she has not had the more traditional journey. She started off in Colombia, then went to Madrid, then to London, and then somehow landed here. So she's been literally all over the world. And throughout her career, she's really noticed that if you take action, and especially when it makes you uncomfortable, that's when good things happen. So believe in yourself, take chances, and it's the only way you can really realize your full potential. So Maria's got some really great experience there as well. So we're so excited to have her. And then, of course, next is Natalie Morales Villa. So Natalie, gosh, I guess she's kind of our older alum in terms of when she graduated. She graduated in 2019, and she's currently an entrepreneur and a motivational speaker, and also works for the Atlanta Public School System. After UNG, she went on to Harvard and graduated from the School of Education. And her bachelor's degree is in political science with a Spanish translation certificate. And her story as a first-generation student has been featured on CBS News, Univision, ABC News, Good Morning America, and Telemundo. And when she was here at UNG, she was with the Latino Student Association, the Goizeta Scholarship and McNair Scholar Program, and she conducted a lot of research on Latinx enrollment at UNG. And I remember, Natalie, you did a lot of work working with the Latinx students here at UNG, and you had a really big impact on that. And she's also created her own nonprofit as well. So really just kind of staying busy and just really being involved in her community. So of course, last but certainly not least is Ansley, who is also a 2021 alum, and she majored in management information systems. And she currently works as a process risk and governance associate at Fraser and Dieter's High Trust Practice. And I remember when Ansley and I when she was first applying to this high trust team, her and I were both doing a lot of research trying to figure out what in the world is that? So I learned a lot, she learned a lot, and now she works there and does this for a living. So she serves clients and assisting them to meet their cybersecurity goals, whether it be advisory or audit. and she found her current role actually through a handshake career fair. And so, Ansley, just real quick, was that one of our online career fairs?
That was because it was during COVID, so everything was kind of haywire.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was blessed with the virtual handshake.
Yeah, so it was challenging because everything was virtual, and then trying to do a career fair on Handshake where they had like what, just 10 minutes to talk to the employers. So, made a good relationship, made a good impression, and was able to build on that and get a great opportunity, walking literally right across the stage, right into an opportunity. I remember that. And she said she loves to give back and assisting others with their transition from college to the workforce, the way so many people assisted her as well. So, I mean, honestly, just some amazing alumni here that have done some really cool things, both while they were in school and afterwards. So I'm going to start off with, I'm just going to start how we started. I'm going to start off with Erin, and just kick it off with you to begin with. And so could you tell us a little bit more about what you do in your current job, and how do you feel that UNG helped prepare you for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my current job is a little bit of a mixed bag. So I came out of school and decided to go work for a small company. And with a lot of small companies, you have to wear a lot of different hats. And so my title is procurement specialist, but that's not all I get to do, which is a great thing some days, and some days it's a lot. But so the procurement specialist job, I essentially purchase materials for large scale energy utility clients. You can, if you're from Georgia, you can think of like a Georgia Power, Southern Company. And we essentially help. We are kind of the middleman between the engineers and the construction team. So engineers will engineer whatever they're going to build. They'll send us a list of what they need to buy. We'll go and procure either vendor services or the materials, and we'll send them to site. Other hats I wear, lots of business development, traveling to go talk to energy utilities and talk to different prime contractors. Just to see where we can assist and develop the business. How UNG has helped with that. So, I mean, Lori read the list of, what I was involved in. I think a lot of the benefit that I got from UNG was what I found outside of the classroom, and being able to gain and hone my soft skills, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to run a meeting, a whole bunch of different little things that you don't think will help you out in the long run, and that may not end up on your resume, end up kind of being more of the crucial parts of your job, which is kind of crazy. I had a really big leg up even on people a decade or so over me, because I had a lot of those soft skills, just things like, again, leading a meeting, things that a lot of people don't know how to do, but don't really put too much thought into. Oh, hey, maybe there's a process behind this, and maybe I need a little bit of expertise behind this. A lot of that I got from UNG. So that was a really big thing for me, starting in the workforce.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Natalie, I'm going to skip to you. So again, thinking about, how UNG prepared you, because then you went on to Harvard, which I know also had happened during COVID time. So I know that that was a bit of a challenge as well. And so how do you feel that, your time, here at UNG was able to prepare you for going on to the Ivy League, and of course, being an entrepreneur and now a speaker? I see you so much on LinkedIn doing all these great, amazing speaking events. So tell us a little bit more about that, and kind of how you felt that, your time here really helped get that platform going for you.
Thank you, Lori, for all the encouragement. Well, one, I want to say props to all of you that are here, whether it's because you're getting credit for a class, but this is how networking starts. This is how you start gaining opportunities as you continue throughout your professional career. I would love to connect with all of you on LinkedIn or social media. I'll put in my links in a bit. But yes, so how did I end up at Harvard? I still ask myself that question. But one thing I will say is, because UNG had that more smaller school feel, that more like individualized instruction with my professors, those connections, those one-on-ones that I was able to make with peers and teachers, that really prepared me, one, in gaining leadership experience, but two, also gaining the confidence. Now that I graduated with a master's degree and also from an Ivy League institution, I think if it had been the opposite, right, where for undergrad I had gone to Harvard or what other Ivy League institution, I don't not think I would have survived. I would have more than likely dropped out. One, because I was a first generation college student. I had barely ever made it out of Gainesville, right? I didn't know how to use, I had never even used the metro before, right? The first time I ever used the metro was when I did my internship in DC. I did not know how to network. I did not know there was such a thing called imposter syndrome. So for me, I think UNG really, really prepared me, one, to gain that confidence, to learn to be a leader, and to build that professional network, just all these skills that day by day I managed to build up, that eventually got me accepted to Harvard and that eventually helped me graduate. And now here I am being an entrepreneur, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, just and I find that so interesting how you mentioned how, if you had just jumped right into that huge university, how that might have been just completely overwhelming. And thinking about, Maria, with your journey going to so many different places, and I know you had done education in other countries as well. What do you feel like you thought was like the most proud of moment, from coming from UNG, and then now you're working at the oh gosh, what is the name of the place you're working? Latin American Association? Okay, I just want to make sure I got that right. I was like, oh no, the brain just froze for a second. And so I know you've had a lot of different experiences, and I know some of our conversations were, where are the opportunities? And so where do you, again, kind of the same question, but also, what do you feel like were some of the most proud, your proudest moments, coming out of UNG?
Yes, I think like having a opportunity to work in the US, because when I came to US, I came in as an international students visa. So I remember just meeting with Lori until like, Lori, how can I do a resume? How can I work in the US? Because I have this like as international student visa. So I don't know if it's gonna be okay for companies, organizations, like contrast someone who is international. But yes, I think like the most thing like I have proud is like UNG just offer like, like this support system, like I remember joining to the International Students Club or the Public Relations Student Society of America. So that those clubs, like the community, just helped me like to navigate and see opportunities. And I remember when I got the job here, I just started just volunteering, and as Aaron mentioned, like there are more things outside to the school, like join social events, or actually in UNG, you have a lot of plenty like clubs and programs. And I think there's a lot of resource there that students need to take care of, be part of them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So don't worry, Ansley, you're next. I haven't forgotten about you. So, thinking about, your time here at UNG, as well as I know you had done an internship before you had graduated as well. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you, because I can say I meet with a lot of information system students, and the struggle is always, where are the job opportunities? And so how did you come across your internship and this opportunity, and realizing that this was something that you really like to do?
Yeah, the internship, I had a spreadsheet tracking, like I can't even tell you how many internships I applied to, mostly on Handshake. So I did an internship with FIS, and kind of how I think like I really secured that internship was I was just like always on LinkedIn, and I started seeing them doing different events. So I actually sat in on a Women's International Day event. When I applied, I think I kind of spoke to that, and once I got into kind of the interview process, I just started name dropping like everyone I'd talked to. I'd email recruiters, like I was not letting that internship slip. So I think, you know, information systems, it's a wide field. You can go in a lot of different directions. And I think, I mean, just in general, it's hard applying to jobs. I think the more you can name drop and just show that you're genuinely interested in a company, the more it will help. Just being able to sit on interviews and speak to, these are the things I actually enjoy about your company. This is why I see a fit there. These are some people I know. I think makes such a huge difference. Even in my current role, I get involved in some of the recruiting process, and, you know, as soon as we know, like, that you know someone else at the firm, like it really is about those connections, and just staying on top of it and showing that engagement and interest.
Yeah, and it really does make a difference. And, you know, because all of you, you know, have landed in so many amazing opportunities. Ansley, I'm going to stick with you for just a second. You know, especially because, you know, like I mentioned at the beginning, you and I both did not know what high trust was. We didn't, you know, we had the hardest time trying to figure out what it was, and you know, how you would be qualified. So that brings me to the next question. Did you know what you wanted to focus on, you know, at first, you know, when it came to your degree, and what kind of career path you wanted? Like when you first started at UNG, did you know where you wanted to end up?
When I first started at UNG, I had no clue what was going on. I actually transferred in from West Georgia. It just wasn't a great fit. Didn't do very well, honestly, when I was at West Georgia, and did have kind of a hard time settling into school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it's like, why am I taking these classes? What is my motivator? And my mom was like, you should do nursing. So I really thought that I might do nursing. I would not be a good nurse at all. I kind of decided, okay, I'm taking these classes, I'll go the business route. And then they're like, okay, you have to declare, you know, your major. So I was like, all right, what am I going to do? And kind of scrolled through the list and was like, okay, I'm going to do management information systems, because it was something I was interested in and it was the best fit for me. I love the major. I thought I would do like something with project management, IT project management, and did my internship with FIS and kind of realized maybe that wasn't the best fit, at least now. And then had no idea actually about my current field at all until doing the Handshake career fair. So I work with Frazier and Dieter, accounting firm based in Atlanta, and I'm part of their advisory branch. They're kind of in the middle of a rebrand right now. But I had no idea that this was an option until talking to my boss, and he was so charismatic, and I work for him today and met him on the career fair, so it's great. And just asked a lot of questions and sat in on every single internship panel they had, just really got engaged with Frazier and Dieter and decided that was a firm I really wanted to go to. So I had no idea. I mean, like Lori said, I literally had no idea what I was getting into. We were trying to figure it out. And God bless you for helping me so much, because it was a journey, but you know, I couldn't be happier, and just really like asking for help, going to career services, asking people in my network, hey, will you review my resume? Just reaching out to anyone and everyone, like really helped me to get to where I am today.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, like I said, I learned a lot too when we were going through all of that. So, and Erin, you know, I was wondering, same thing with you. Did you know that you wanted to kind of get into supply chain procurement? Was that something that you kind of thought, yeah, this is the direction I want to go in?
I did not. So, I guess I spent 7 years at UNG. I spent a long time, and a lot of that was figuring out what I wanted to do. Serendipitously, I started with an engineering degree to transfer to Georgia Tech, and ended up working very closely with a lot of electrical engineers, but in a different capacity than I originally thought I would. But no, I didn't know. I went from engineering to computer science, political science, and then kind of landed on business. Kind of opposite of Ansley. My mom was like, hey, maybe you should do supply chain. And I kind of ended up doing that because she also works in supply chain. So yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I originally started, but I'm glad I kind of pressed on and tried and tried again until I finally got that figured out. But despite how long it took, I kind of ended up in the best path what I see for me, which I think is great. And I think no matter, I guess, where you're at in your college career, remember that, again, tomorrow is another day. It doesn't matter what you're doing today or yesterday, there's always room to improve.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And Maria, like you were talking about, how at first, we weren't sure, where would those opportunities be? How did you come across the opportunity at the Latin American Association, and what are some of the big projects you've been able to be a part of?
So I started just volunteering at the American Association. I remember that was in 2021. So they have a lot of vaccination events. And then I started just meeting new people. I was joined to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce events. And then from then you just start like a connecting, people just telling you when there is a new opportunity. And when I was here, they opened the opportunity to work as a operations coordinator. So I sent them my resume and I got an interview and I get accepted. But yes, yeah, I don't know that I want to work in a nonprofit organization, but it is great because I mean, you have to just wear multiple hats, no? Like right now, for example, I'm preparing an event. It's one of the most important fundraising events. This is gonna be in the aquarium, Georgia Aquarium. We're expecting around 400 guests. So those are corporations, leaders in our community that donate for Latin American Association. This is gonna be, it's called Compañeros Award Luncheon. So we're gonna have some awardees in our event. And also we're gonna have the Atlanta City Council President. We're gonna have Senator Ana Vitarte. So this is a great event. Yes, it's gonna be this Thursday. So we just a little bit crazy because the last minute there are some changes. There are some people just reaching out to you, but yeah, I am glad that working here because the mission for the LA is something that is touched me. Like I know the journey for immigrants. I know how hard it's just to start again in a different country. And here we provide a lot of services for Hispanic people that they don't know that they exist. And I'm just happy to be part of the organization.
Yeah, and you've had to start over in a couple of different countries. So you've got a lot of experience with being the new kid in a lot of different areas and learning different cultures and different languages. And I know that must be a challenge. And you've been able to overcome each one of them.
Yes, I remember the first time when I immigrated was in Spain. And even if there is the same language, right? We speak Spanish, like sometimes I don't understand what they're saying because for the strong accent with the S, I was like, oh my God, but it's the same. Are they speaking the same language? I just say yes, like things, they have a different culture and you just adapt to them. I just believe that you have to take the best of everything. Yes, I have a lot of friends there and I'm planning to be there next summer, but yeah, I love all my friends over there. And then I moved to London. I went to London to study English and was so difficult because as when you grow up and you are not like a kid, so it's difficult to learn a second language. And it was so challenging for me. And then when I moved to US, so my sister and my family was here, living here. So I came here and just applied for a visa. And then, as you say, I started again. But it's great. I love US and I really happy. Yeah, right now where I am.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. And Natalie, because you've been on all these different news programs and stuff, I'm wondering, how did you make that leap then, when you then started being featured on all these different shows? How did that come about?
Yes, so I fell into it. So Unique story about my graduation. When I was doing my graduation pictures at the Harvard Library, my mom and I were tired, and we were done for the day, right? And I was at the very top of the stairs, and the whole time I was thinking, I could not have done this without my mom. Like, my mom deserves absolutely, she is the reason why I got to where I am. And I told her, I'm like, hey, mom, just come. And she was tired. And she was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. We've done pictures. It's hot. Like, what do you want now? And I started putting my graduation attire on her. And then my aunt just casually started recording. And I posted that video on LinkedIn more than any graduate from a Ivy League institution. Before I knew it, that video went viral. It exploded. And before I knew it, I had hundreds of messages in my inbox. I had news reporters. I had people wanting to interview me. There was a week when my mom and I did 7 interviews in 1 week. People wanted me to speak, be their keynote speaker for all types of organizations throughout the US. So it was a really amazing opportunity. One, because growing up, and even while I was still at UNG, I was super shy. I would still get red if I ever spoke in public. And here I am now sharing my story with the world and connecting with thousands of first-generation college students and other professionals. So again, it just sort of happened. I never would have imagined that one day I would go viral and that I would be interviewed from all these organizations and become a keynote speaker. But to summarize, that just goes to prove that anything and everything can happen. Don't be afraid to try new things, and opportunities will come knocking at your door when you least expect it.
Right. Oh, yeah. And that's great that you were open to those opportunities and, gave you so many new experiences. And Ansley, going back to you really quick, you had mentioned that, part of your role now, again, same thing, you took a chance at something that you didn't know what you were hopping into. And now part of your role involves recruiting people. So what do you think employers are looking for, especially in terms of, whether it's for internships or recent graduates? What are some of the qualities that help make someone successful when they're applying to a job?
So I will say the biggest thing that employers are looking for is personality. We all want to enjoy our coworkers. Everyone wants to get along with everyone they work with. I know, at least for us, like, we just hired someone from a logistics background, actually. So he has great professional experience, but he has like absolutely no knowledge of what we do. So that's our big thing. Like, you can train anyone to fit into their role. You can get the technical experience. That's all teachable. It's all learnable. But having a good attitude, being like friendly, outgoing, even if you don't feel like, super friendly or outgoing, just making that push to just be confident and let your personality shine through, I think is the biggest, just the biggest asset that you could ever do. And just like have a go-getter attitude.
Fantastic. And Erin, I know you had focused on, spoken a little bit on some of the soft skills that you had gained while being a part of all those different clubs and things like that. What do you find, especially because you're working with so many different departments and personality types within those departments, what do you find, helps make you successful in your work, and also in terms of, again, what can students, be looking for to kind of highlight when they're looking for, their next opportunity?
Yeah, most definitely. For me, a lot of it is really, I guess, just sticking to my values, knowing that, I'm a hard worker, and wanting to kind of prove myself every day. And so, I want to grow in my position, and I would like to see my company grow along with me. And I work for a small company, so those two aren't mutually exclusive, right? So if the company grows, I know I'm going to grow. So there's a lot of kind of work that I put in with that in the back of my mind. And then two, wanting to kind of prove myself, you know, in my industry and kind of make a name for myself. I am fortunate enough to work with a lot of really big clients and a lot of vendors. And, you know, I don't want how my job to affect someone else's job. There's a lot of things that are reliant on me in order to move forward. And so knowing that is also really helpful too, but then too, just kind of staying true to myself and knowing who I am, and, you know, having a value in myself and my work. And yeah, that's kind of what helps with that.
Yeah, fantastic. And so you had also mentioned about, you know, being able to, you know, have that communication and, like you said, the strong work ethic. How would you feel that, you know, or what do you think is the best way that students could, you know, kind of build some of those skill sets while they're here at UNG?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something that most people aren't naturally born with that, right? And it's not something that you can kind of just get overnight. There's a lot of things you have to put into that. I think the best way, hands down, to get that from UNG is to get involved outside of class. Honestly, if you are leaving the classroom and every day you find yourself just leaving the classroom, going back to your apartment or your dorm, I think you're honestly doing doing college a little wrong. There's a lot of things to grasp outside of the classroom in different organizations, different clubs that you're not going to get in the classroom, but that are so crucial to what you need to do in the business world or whatever industry you go into. Just the things like knowing how to talk to people. If I know for me, like being in a Greek organization, we have to recruit. So you have to go out, talk to people, you sell people on different things like that. Running meetings, like I said, is a very big thing. Knowing how to persuasively get something done, knowing how to run an event. That's project management, really, when you boil that down. But there's a lot of transferable skills that you get in those clubs that are so applicable to the work world, and you don't notice it until you get there. I talk with my friends all the time that I was in PICAP with, and I say, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I wouldn't have done that back then. And we all say that. We all, you know, we'll talk about our work day and we'll just kind of reflect on that.
Mhm.
And so not saying like you need to go join a Greek organization. That same experience is available across I'm sure many organizations across UNG. But yeah, go get involved. If your day ends after class ends, I don't think you're maximizing on what you can while being there.
Fantastic. Really, really awesome. And yeah, you don't have to join a million clubs, just at least some.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that, or you'll be there for 7 years.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but do maximize on one or two.
And Maria, I really liked how, you know, you talk a lot about, you know, taking chances. And I think a lot of times, you know, all of us, we kind of get scared of, well, what if I make the wrong choice? What if I go into the wrong career field? What if I, you know, choose the wrong thing? So what's kind of really kept you motivated and taking those risks?
Yes, I think like the mindset should be like always like a positive, even if you choose something that is wrong, something good is coming from there, like an experience, you know. And yes, it's like when I came here to the US, there was a big change because I remember my classmates, they were very young than me. I know like who I am, like what I'm gonna do. I remember taking my first speech class and I was so afraid. I was like, how can I do a speech class? Oh my goodness, but overcoming like those moments in your life make you feel like a strong. So the next time that you're gonna be in the same situation that you feel like uncomfortable, you say, okay, I can do it because I did in the past. A little by little, you get like a strong, and is that okay if you take risks? Is that okay if you take shots? But at least you're moving, you're taking an action. You're not waiting for something to happen, or you're not waiting because an offer is going to your door. No, you need to go outside and you need to try. I remember in LinkedIn, I didn't even have an account in LinkedIn when I graduated, and I started doing my LinkedIn. I remember meeting with Lori. I'm just doing my resume. I was putting when I joined the clubs in the UNG, putting like as a resume. I remember I was a social media coordinator for the international students, and Lori was like, okay, you should put that experience in your resume. Yes, I remember Lori was helping me like reviewing them. And then I just start looking people on the LinkedIn, like, okay, who is working in communication, what they are doing. And then I start reaching out to them. And then like asking questions like, hey, I like know your journey. I have like a 4 or 5 that they say yes, and actually I meet with them. And I just, my advice is like, you know what you want to do, but you want to have like an advice. And I think like having LinkedIn is a good way to connecting with people. And you never know, people maybe are outside, maybe looking for a student that is motivated, you know, like if you are motivated, and yeah, they can see like you want to work. Yes, you never know. I think you just need to try, and just take connection.
Yeah, fantastic. And Natalie, I mean, I know you did obviously, a lot of great things while you were here, but especially now that it's been a few years, is there anything now looking back that you wish you would have known, while you were working through your undergrad, that you're kind of going, gosh, I wish I would have known that. I want to make sure other people don't make the same mistake, or that they have this knowledge before they graduate?
Yes, for me, the biggest thing is don't put too much pressure on yourself thinking that if you study one thing and then you realize, oh, it's my junior, it's my senior year, I'm kind of not really liking this major, or I don't really see I did an internship, I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life or making a career out of it. It's okay to change. Just graduate, right? Of course, just graduate. If you're in your junior, senior year already studying something, make sure you finish it, but don't think that you're tied to that. So for me, I studied poli-sci and did Spanish translation certification. I did an internship in DC. Again, life-changing opportunity, both professionally and personally. But after being in Congress, I realized I kind of don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And I've always been very, very passionate about languages, specifically language access for underserved communities. I had my Spanish translation certificate, and look at me now. I studied poli-sci, but now I have my translation agency. So again, it's okay to make those shifts. It's okay to realize, hey, I don't like this, but I can always change career paths. I don't have to stay tied to that one thing because that's what I studied, because that's what everyone expected of me, because that's what my parents encouraged me to pursue. That's what my peers knew that I was really passionate about it at the beginning. It's okay. I am 20, about to turn 27, and I am still figuring life out.
Well, that's good to know. I think a lot of us, when people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still working on it. And so Ansley, that takes me to you, as well, especially because you had said, you had started at another school, you had transferred, you had family saying you should do this. And so what are some things that, now that you've been in the workforce for a few years, that you kind of, look back on and go, gosh, I wish I would have known this in college. What are some things that you kind of want to pass along to others?
I guess I kind of had, I feel like, anxiety, just like, what am I going to do? Like I felt like so stressed out, like, how am I going to figure out like life? Like, these are big decisions. It's a lot. So I think that was so overwhelming. And I guess just looking back at myself in college, I wish I could like just take a deep breath, like, you're doing okay, you're just taking it one step at a time. It doesn't have to be this huge mountain you're climbing all at once. It's really just taking it one step at a time. I did I think I was 5 years in college total, maybe like 5 years and then an internship at the end. So I definitely took my time, and I would say, to all those out there, don't feel stressed about getting out in a huge rush. Obviously, Aaron took a little longer. He's doing well. yeah, and I think just have a lot more confidence in yourself too. I just feel like I was so stressed out thinking I'm dropping the ball. Some people are, look so competitive on their resumes, but like really just taking the time to reach out, connect with other people. I mean, LinkedIn has a lot of great webinars, like just hop in random stuff and meet random people. And just don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. I mean, just take it one step at a time. No one really knows, like no one has it all figured out. Everyone's just kind of taking it one step at a time, even in the workday with like my bosses, like we're all just kind of figuring it out as we go. So no one has one right answer. And I will say too, I think at first maybe I was a little bit intimidated when you're speaking to those in the workforce or those, who seem above you in a hierarchy, but really like we're all people. So being comfortable and confident in those conversations as well makes a huge lift. So I just say like, don't feel stressed that you have to figure it all out. Life comes at you one day at a time and everything will fall into place as you go through it and it'll be okay.
Yeah, somehow it all magically works out. Yeah.
Yeah. But do be proactive and drive it. I mean, I can't tell you like how many probably fake interviews Lori and I did and like random questions like, will you look at my LinkedIn? Will you look at my resume? I can't tell you how many people reviewed my resume. So you do have to take ownership of it, but don't let it be some kind of like paralyzing thing because like you really will figure it out as you go. And I mean, it's just a lot when you're in college making those big decisions.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, you can't just sit there and let it magically happen. You do have
Yeah.
to do a little bit of put a little bit of work into it. And gosh, I can't believe we're already getting close to the end of the hour. I want to make sure that each one of you have time to give your parting words because I mean, gosh, the time goes by so fast. So Maria, I'm going to start with you. What other bits of advice? What else would you like to share with your fellow Nighthawks in regards to their time at UNG as well as preparing for what comes after?
Yeah, I will say enjoy being the UNG, take advantage of all the clubs and all the events in person. Because for us in 2021, I remember that it was hard. Even if I was joined two clubs, it was hard to get the students for the COVID. But now that guys, things are more like a normal. So take advantage of make friends, make connections, and also you can join like outside of UNG social events. That will be great because when you don't know with who you are talking or meeting people, you don't know which opportunity will not bring you in your life. So you're gonna be like be proactive in that, in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because like you said, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to talk to. It's going to lead to something else. And so, Erin, same thing. What other bits of advice would you like to share as our students are, still at UNG, but eventually preparing to head out?
Yeah, I think for me, kind of same note as Maria, just maximize on your opportunities while you're there. Do as well as you can in your classes. For sure, but make sure you're getting involved outside of the classroom. What can I learn? What are the experiences that I can gain outside of the classroom? Do that and start networking early, and whenever you can, start networking early and often. It helps finding a job. It helps when you get in a job. I'd also highly recommend if there's a career and that you want to go into a certain industry, try finding a mentor. For sure, they can help you out more than any of us can. Why? Because they've done it before, right? And so those are all kind of key things that I would be looking at towards the end of my college career. And honestly, even early in your career, you can still kind of do all those things as well. But definitely make sure networking has been one of the biggest things that I've seen be a positive post graduation, and I wish I would have done more of it beforehand too.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Can I ask a question of Erin?
Yeah.
Sorry, you mentioned mentor. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of people don't know how to go about, like, do you just ask them, will you be my mentor? Like go and study or something. Tell me a little bit. Did
Yeah,
you
no.
find a mentor? What do you imagine that would be?
I did. So my boss actually kind of during my internship, it was a mentorship as well. And I ended up just going full time. So he's still one of my mentors, yes. And then I have a couple others as well. But um it depends. It's person to person. You know, you got to know who to communicate with. I don't think it's that ridiculous to go on LinkedIn and say, "Hey, I noticed you do this. I would like to learn a little bit more about that," and start that discussion. But I do know. I want to say there's UNG Unite is a good thing for a lot of college students and alumni. I'm starting to see a lot of alumni are starting to join that as well. I actually went and grabbed dinner with another alumni last week who had just moved to Kansas City, and so the connections are everywhere. But
Great.
that's a good place too, where alumni will say, "Hey, I'm open to being a mentor," or you can mark, "Hey, I want to be a mentee." And so that's another avenue too. LinkedIn, UNG Unite, I would highly recommend those. And if you have personal connections, don't be afraid to go ask friends or your family of, "Hey, do you know anyone that does this? I'm thinking about doing this. Do you know anyone that does this?" And get those connections made. Again, networking, mentorship, two big things that I think are commonly overlooked.
Thanks, Erin.
I will say too, on the mentorship front, like Erin said, you know, friends, like your friends are your parents, and you don't know, even if that's maybe not the exact point of contact you need to talk to, you never know who someone else knows.
Yeah, I think that's really important because a lot of times we think, well, I don't know someone in that industry. And then it just kind of stops there. It's like, but you might know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, and it just kind of keeps on going from there. And so I just put in the chat really quick that if any of you have any questions for our alumni, make sure you ask it now because we are going to be wrapping up. So I am going to go to you, Ansley, and then Natalie, you'll be after her. So again, final words of advice, anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, I would say just make the most out of your experience. I was so ready to get out of school, and now, you know, 40-hour work week for real. But seriously, just make the most out of it. Don't show up to class just to like take your test, get out of there. I felt like myself really engaging in a lot of my classes towards my like last year or two at North Georgia, and you'll be so surprised at how valuable those are. I actually came out of classes into my internship and felt like way ahead of people who would have been there and doing that job for 20 years. So you'll be surprised, and just have confidence in yourself, and feel like cannot mirror image what Erin has said about networking. Get on LinkedIn, just join random stuff, you know, just make the most out of it. And seriously, don't be afraid to reach out. I know everyone on this call will be happy to connect. I had a ton of help between college to my current position, and you know, it's great to give back and help others too who are in that thing. So we all want to do that, and we all need that kind of support.
Fantastic. And so Natalie, I'll let you have the final words. I mean, and especially, you know, the power of, you know, putting something online and people reaching out, and that's definitely, you know, really worked out for you. So what are some of your last words of advice?
Yeah, so to tag off of what, you know, Erin, Marianne, and Ansley said, get on LinkedIn. It's never, ever too late to start networking, to start getting on social media, to start putting yourself out there. I did not have a decent LinkedIn, not even a great LinkedIn, a decent LinkedIn until I started my master's degree. So what, that was, oh my gosh, almost 3 years ago. When I was in DC during my junior year, I remember being super intimidated because I was meeting other interns that had their LinkedIn together. And I was super impressed, and because they had all these internships listed at prestigious organizations, and I barely had a profile picture on mine. It wasn't even a headshot, it was a profile picture. So I didn't really start getting my LinkedIn together until my master's degree. So don't be intimidated if you're in undergrad right now and think, oh my gosh, how can I even start connecting with people when I don't even have a decent headshot? I don't even have a summary of what my degree is, what I'm interested in is. And another tip, when you want to get a call or a Zoom meeting with someone, you have to be very effective in how you connect with them. Don't just message them and say, hello. No, the way you get the call is you tell them, hello, it's great to connect with you. I'm a current student at so-and-so. Would you have 15 minutes to get on a call? I'm free on these days. This is my phone number and email. You really have to be effective. And you're more than likely to get that call versus if you say, hi, it's really cool what you're doing. They're not going to answer because people are busy and they want something direct to the point. And then another thing that I recommend is connect with as many alumni as you can. Just put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. The worst that can happen is that people won't answer your message. Or they will answer it and they will lead you to another connection. And then another thing, sometimes we follow someone that, you know, can look very impressive. Oh, they're the CEO, they're the vice president, they're the so-and-so at this company. Well, guess what? They were once in your shoes. They were once also a student trying to make connections, trying to get their dream job. Don't feel intimidated. Just go for it.
Awesome. Awesome. That I think that's a wonderful note for all of our speakers to end on. All of you had fantastic, wonderful information. I really appreciate your time. As you can see that they're all super busy people. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedules to chat with us today. And so, like I said, we've been recording, so this will go up on our YouTube channel in the next couple days. And I really appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us today. Thank you to all the students who are here. I know you've gotten a lot of information. They all put in their LinkedIn. You can find them all on LinkedIn. That's how I keep in touch with all of them. And it's just so amazing and fun to see everyone's career just grow and expand and see all the wonderful things that happen. So thank you for posting all those updates. So I could be like, oh, yay, look at all the fun things they're doing. So it's really fun to see all the success you've had after graduating. So thank you again, everyone. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for all of your wonderful advice. Everyone have a great day. Have a safe and lovely evening. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.